What's up, lovely audience? I mean, I'm sorry, my lovely goons. We don't have an audience anymore, we just have the goon squad. So, what's going on?
They can't hear us.
Oh.
Alright, I guess we can't hear them. They can literally hear us.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's fair. Fine. Alright, then, Craig, what's going on, dude?
No, man. You know, it's just cold as shit outside. It's
true.
like cold, but
Yeah.
other than that, things are well. How are you, man?
Oh, it's pretty okay. Nice and cold. It's literally snowing out, and I watched every single drop fall from the sky. It was nice. Legendary. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I was at work and it was just snowing its ass off, and the guys that they didn't send anyone to do anything to our parking lot, but it's like hammering down snow, and these dudes shows up with a salt layer and a snow blower, which is actually just a leaf blower, and they spread the salt and blew around some snow, and it looked okay for about 5 minutes, and then more snow fell. So it was really a valiant effort.
Right. I mean, you can't beat the snow sometimes. So
yeah, it was kind of embarrassing for them actually. I don't want to hurt their feelings too bad.
Yeah, don't dox them too bad. But well, goons, I hope you noticed that I am back and better than ever. I'm not sniffly and sneezy like I was last time. Thanks for pushing through that as much as I pushed through that. I hope you guys still enjoyed last week's episode on the last episode of Urban Legends. It was one of our favorites. We talk about it every day since we recorded it.
Yeah, it's been trending on Twitter for literally a week.
It's fucking crazy. It's actually crazy. But like Craig has mentioned last episode, it is a new month. Thus, it is a new season, or I mean a new category rather, of goodies. And Craig chose history. So with that, we want you to whip out your textbooks, whip out your notepad and paper, because we're taking you to class.
Yeah, and it's not like a boring class though. It's a fun class. We're the fun teachers.
Hey, take out your earphones. Pay attention.
Is that a cell phone I see?
It's an MP3 player. Did you ever get that in school? That was always such a flex from being a younger kid, being like, it's not a phone, it's an MP3 player.
Yeah, check it out. I got a phone and an MP3 player.
Yeah. I never had an iPod growing up. I got a discount fucking something on Amazon. It was $30 and it looked like an iPod on the picture. And then I got it because I wanted to fit in. And it was touchscreen, but it was not like a real touchscreen. It was you push down kind of hard and it went to that application. But it wasn't, wasn't great, but hey, you know what? It played music. So I was...
Yeah.
For some reason, it came with a, weird Japanese song. So that was fun. And I like that song now, so...
That's a good song. I always... I would never ever do this in a million years, but, because I'm a great guy. But I know a lot of people use LimeWire on their MP3 players. I never would have done that.
Well, oh, yeah, we wouldn't.
Yeah, I only purchase music legally, and then download it legally. And I don't even if someone asked me to send them a song. Not a chance, buddy. You buy it yourself.
Yep.
Not trying. I don't want to make the rock stars of the '90s and '80s go poor.
Exactly. Piracy is not a victimless crime.
Yeah,
that's what I've learned from every VHS I watched as a child.
Exactly.
I never really downloaded music at all. What I would do with my fake iPod I would go to concerts and then click the record button, and then whenever I wanted to play it back, dude, it was and I was like, fuck yeah, dude. It was epic. Anyway,
yeah, that's a baller move.
Yeah, dude, I'm a big flexer boy because I didn't have any money, so I snuck into concerts and recorded them, but still don't have money. But anyway, like we said, History Month. We're excited kind of to get this going. We got some ideas going in the works, but the first episode, our specialty is going to just be like usual. Craig's going to bring a story. I'm going to bring a story, but something special happened this time. If you recall, Craig beat me in our Urban Legends game, and he is Mr. Urban Legend. Okay, so he got to choose not a category, but he got to choose a topic for me to discuss. And he came in and he told me to discuss a story. So I will mention that when we get to it. But this story was a courtesy of Craig himself.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I definitely, I wanted to make sure that it was something that you would enjoy talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get it going. So without further ado, I think we should get this going. Unless, do you have anything else that you would like to mention?
I don't think I have any other business. Oh, actually, we do have business.
Oh.
We didn't delete, but we have unpublished the first 2 episodes of the podcast.
Yes.
Just for, I don't know, it's just not our best work, and audio's kind of janky because we really don't know what we were doing, but it's not gone, so we still have the audio, and we can always republish it. So if that's something you guys are interested in, obviously reach out, follow us. Like if you have us on Twitter @storieswith_boys, and then storieswiththeboyspod@gmail.com. You can email us there too. So if you're interested in it, we can put it back on. But in the meantime, we're gonna have them removed.
Yeah, because we don't want like people coming in, seeing episode 1 and being like, it's just not their cup of tea, but then they don't realize that doesn't really exactly explain what we are as a podcasting channel. So it was just best in our interest to take them out for now. So like Craig said, if you ever want them, shut the fuck up. We're not giving them to you. They're ours now. So
yeah, exactly.
So anyway, so Craig, do you want to start or do I want to start? Or do you have any preference?
I don't have a preference.
All right, then I think for this one I'm going to start. I think you started last time.
Okay.
I'm not really sure, but I'm going to start this time anyway, just so we can get your story out of the way. Okay, so, hey goons, have you guys ever heard of the Great Emu War? Because I'll tell you what, I have not prior to Craig mentioning it to me. So this is a story about the Great Emu War in Australia. Before we begin, though, are there any particular reasons why you chose the Great Emu War?
No, I remembered it from a history class, and I was kind of searching for some stories, and that one popped up, and I was like, oh yeah, this happened, and I like that. So I was like, this is what we're gonna do.
Okay, well then, I guess to explain an emu really quick, it's just it's the second largest living bird by height. It is mostly found in Australia, where it's the largest native bird and the only extant member of the genus Drymius. I figured I'd mention that in case you little nerds out there needed that scientific name. But for you non-scientific people, it's just a fucking massive bird. Just a big old fucking long neck bird. It's kind of scary looking. It looks like like a ostrich. That's the word. It looks like an ostrich. So imagine that kind of. But this is a story in, like I mentioned, Australia. It's in Campion District, Western Australia. And this took place the 2nd of November to the 10th of December in 1932. So this one took place quite a while ago. But without further ado, I'm just going to get this going. I'm going to tell you the story. I got almost...
Let's go.
Hell yeah. I got almost all my information exclusively from Wikipedia. So, if you need to, go there and then give them $1. Because every time you get there, they're like, can you please we know you use us constantly. Give us $1. Go ahead and do that. This isn't a sponsor. Just out of the kindness of your heart. Alright, so the Great Emu War was a nuisance... Oh god, I've already fucked it up. Let's try this again. The Great Emu War was a nuisance wildlife management military operation undertaking in Australia over the later part of 1932 to address the public concern over the number of emus said to be running amok in Campion District, Western Australia. The unsuccessful attempts to curb the population of emus, a large flightless bird indigenous to Australia, employed soldiers armed with Lewis guns, leading the media to adopt the name Emu War. Lewis guns are guns that can only be used by a dude named Lewis, or a girl named Lewis. So fun fact that I'm lying about. Lewis guns are basically just machine guns. They're just rapid fire, fully automatic weapons. While a number of the birds were killed, the emu population persisted and continued to cause crop destruction. So let me give you a little bit of a background. This is following World War I. Large numbers of discharged veterans who served in the war were given land by the Australian government to take up farming with Western Australia, often in agriculturally marginal areas. With the onset of the Great Depression in 1929, these farmers were encouraged to increase their wheat crops, with the government promising and failing to deliver assistance in the form of subsidies. In spite of the recommendations and the promised subsidies, wheat prices continued to fall, and by October 1932, matters were becoming intense, with the farmers preparing to harvest the season's crop while simultaneously threatening to refuse to deliver wheat. Any thoughts on that so far, bro? Do you know this whole story?
Yeah, I didn't dive in. I don't know like the nitty gritty, but I know the gist of it for sure.
The main gist. Yeah. So basically, these it's a classic government civilian debacle at first, right? Great Depression's going on. Following World War I, these farmers were like told that, hey, you guys, you get this land, and it's going to be made for cropping, but we're going to need you to make some wheat, please. And then they're like, you know what, fuck you, no, fuck you. And they didn't, because they weren't getting properly helped out. So that's just like the mindset they're already in. This whole establishment's already fucked. But let's keep going. It gets worse, believe it or not. The difficulties facing farmers were increased by the arrival of as many as 20,000 emus. Emus regularly migrate after their breeding season, heading to the coast from the inland regions. With the cleared land and additional water supplies being made available for livestock by the Western Australian farmers, the emus found that the cultivated lands were a good habitat, and they began to foray into farm territory. In particular, the marginal farming land around Chandler and Walgulan. I probably pronounced that wrong. Any of you?
Say that one more time for us.
Walgulan. It's Walgoolan. Walgulan.
Not bad.
Any of you Aussies out there, I apologize for my arrogance. The emus consumed and spoiled the crops, as well as leaving large gaps in fences where rabbits could enter and cause even further problems. These fucking emus were like, hey, all you rabbits, come through. And it's just causing issues for these farmers.
Yeah, they really threw him up the bird, if you know what I mean.
Farmers relayed their concerns about the birds ravaging their crops, and a deputation of ex-soldiers were sent to meet with the Minister of Defense, Sir George Pierce. Having served in World War I, the soldier settlers were well aware of the effectiveness of machine guns, and they requested their deployment. The guns were to be used by military personnel. Troop transport was to be financed by the Western Australian government, and the farmers would provide food, accommodation, and payment for the ammunition. So those were the stipulations to basically just saying, like, yeah, you guys can go out and just fucking kill these birds.
Really go for it.
Yeah, really just open season depending on these stipulations. So Pierce also supported the deployment on the grounds that the birds would make good target practice, while it has also been argued that some in the government may have viewed the operation as a way of being seen to be helping the Western Australian farmers to stave off the secession movement that was brewing. Towards that end, the cinematographer from Fox Movietone was enlisted. So we got some motherfucking pictures and some motherfucking movies out there about this documentation. Hell yeah. So
crushing it.
So this is the war. Military involvement was due to begin in October 1932. The war was conducted under the command of Major G.P.W. Meredith of the 7th Heavy Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery, with Meredith commanding soldiers Sergeant S. McMurray and Gunner J. O'Halloran, armed with...
Military names were so much cooler back then.
Dude, I fucking know. It's fucking Sergeant S. McMurray and Gunner J. O'Halloran. Are you fucking my ass?
Those are so much cooler.
Major G.P.W. Meredith. I mean, the name Meredith is even feminine, but I'm still like, that's badass.
Yeah, dude, I wouldn't fuck with Meredith.
No, dude, not GPW Major Meredith. But They were armed with 2 Lewis guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. That's a lot of bullets. And think about that. Let's calculate. They each have 10,000 rounds of ammunition, 20,000 emus. You could do the math. The operation was delayed. However, by a period of rainfall... The operation was delayed, however, by a period of rainfall that caused the emus to scatter over a wider area. The rain ceased by November 2nd, 1932. Whereupon the troops were deployed with orders to assist the farmers and, according to a newspaper account, to collect 100 emu skins so that their feathers could be used to make hats for light horsemen. These motherfuckers out here playing Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, you go out, you pop some birds, skin them real quick, take them back, sell it. Bounties.
Which honestly, like, that's, like, the gamer in me is, like, I wish I could have been there.
This is the first attempt. Okay, so on November 2nd, the men traveled to Campion, where some 50 emus were sighted. 50. As the birds were out of range of the guns, the local settlers attempted to herd the emus into an ambush, but the birds split into small groups and ran so that they were difficult to target. Nevertheless, while the first what the fuck is fusillade? I never heard of this word. While the first fusillade from the machine guns was ineffective due to the range, a second round of gunfire was able to kill a number of birds. Later the same day, a small flock was encountered and perhaps a dozen birds were killed. And I went ahead and looked into it. Emus, they travel in big groups called a mob, in case you were wondering. And whenever they start to get threatened or under attack, they like split into littler groups of mobs. So like, let's imagine there's 10. They would split into groups of like 3, and then one has 4, like stuff like that. They're kind of smart.
Yeah, I like to pretend that that's where mobbing with my homies came from.
Yeah, dude. You're like in a big group, and then when you get shot at, you just split into smaller groups. Mobbing. The next so that was the first significance. That was the blood was drawn on this war, this grisly war. The next significant event was on November 4th. Meredith had established an ambush near a local dam, and more than 1,000 emus were spotted heading towards their position. This time, the gunners waited until the birds were in close proximity before opening fire. The gun jammed only after 12 birds were killed, and the remainder scattered before any more could be shot. No more birds were sighted that day. This is like... We should make a movie out of this.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'd make a killing.
That'd be awesome. Killing, nice. In the days that followed, Meredith chose to move further south, where the birds were reported to be fairly tame, quote unquote. But there was only limited success in spite of his efforts. By the 4th day of the campaign, Army observers noted that each pack seems to have its own leader now, a big black plumed bird which stands fully 6 feet high and keeps watch while his mates carry out their work of destruction and warns them about our approach, end quote, or quote, end quote. At one stage, Meredith even went as far as to mount one of the guns on a truck, a move that proved to be ineffective, as the truck was unable to gain on the birds, and the ride was so rough that the gunner was unable to fire any shots. By November 8th, 6 days after the first engagement, 2,500 rounds of ammunition had been fired. The number of birds killed is uncertain. One account estimates that it was around 50 birds, but other accounts range from 200 to 500. So someone's math was a little off.
Someone's at the bar telling stories.
Yeah. It was either 500 or 50, derivatives.
It's in between there somewhere.
It's somewhere in there. The latter figure being provided by the settlers. Meredith's official report noted that his men had suffered no casualties. Thank God. Could you imagine being killed in the Great Emu War? Like, your family's dishonored.
You gotta you gotta go, visit the family afterwards. You're like,
yeah,
Jonathan.
Yeah, the letter.
They came at him so fast.
There were hundreds, some say 500 of them. Or 50, I don't know. They were charging at him. Anyway, if you died by an emu in the Great Emu War, maybe there were casualties, but they just didn't mention it because that's an embarrassment to the Australian military. But we'll let it slide. So, summarizing the Coles, ornithologist Dominic Cervanti commented, "The machine gunners' dreams of point-blank fire into serried masses of emus were soon dissipated. The emu command had evidently ordered guerrilla tactics, and its unwieldy army soon split up into innumerable small units that made use of military weapons uneconomic. A crestfallen field force therefore withdrew from the combat area after about a month. End quote. Also, fuck this guy and his stupid words. Like, you could make a report being like, hey, they all split up into groups and they couldn't shoot them. But instead he was like, innumerable small units, military, uneconomic, crestfallen field forces. He's saying shit like that.
Well, in all fairness, he probably graduated from college with a master's degree and like only did like 4 weeks of school his entire life, and then he's like, I gotta sound smart. Like,
yeah, he's like, I read a book, so I gotta flex on these.
I'm the only guy in my platoon who's read before, so I really gotta show out here.
Yeah, so everyone that isn't this guy is like reading his excerpt, being like, the fuck,
dude, he's so smart.
So smart. On November 8th, members of the Australian House of Representatives discussed the operation, following the negative coverage of the events in local media that included claims that only a few emus had died. Pierce withdrew the military personnel and the guns on November 8th. So the emus are winning at this point. Let's see. After the withdrawal, Major Meredith compared the emus to Zulus and commented on the striking maneuverability of the emus, even while badly wounded. Quote, if we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. They could face machine guns with the invulnerability of tanks. They were like Zulus whom even dumb bullets couldn't stop, end quote. Zulus, for your information, I'm going to butcher this, but it's a people. It's a people. Hold on to that while I look into what it is. Craig, take it away.
Do you know radio voice? I think I do, but boy do I not. Like, I think I do, but boy do I not want to say it and then be the wrong thing and offend somebody.
That's what I was trying to avoid, but I'm going to do this really quick. Zulu people are an Nguni ethnic group in southern Africa. The Zulu people are the largest ethnic group in the nation in South Africa, with an estimated 10 to 12 million people living mainly in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. They originated from Nguni, I said that Japanese like, Nguni communities who took part in the Bantu migrations. So they're a very large ethnic group in South Africa. I'm sorry. So sorry. I'm trying to be culturally appropriate. I'm so sorry. But that's what a Zulu is. So basically this guy is comparing these emus to Zulus. So that's interesting. That was the first attempt. What I just described is the first attempt. There's going to be just a little bit more to go. So I hope you're enthralled to see the conclusion of the Emu War. After this is the second attempt. After the withdrawal of the military, the emu attacks on crops continued. Farmers again asked for support, citing the hot weather and drought that brought emus invading farms in the thousands. James Mitchell, the premier of the Western Australia, lent his strong support to a renewal of the military assistance. At the same time, a report from the base commander was issued that indicated 300 emus had been killed in the initial operation, out of 2,000. So, get good. Acting on their requests and the base commander's report, by November 12th, the Minister of Defense approved a resumption of military efforts. He defended the decision in the Senate, explaining why the soldiers were necessary to combat the serious agricultural threat of the large emu population. Although the military had agreed to lend the guns to Western Australian government on the expectation that they would provide the necessary people, Meredith was once again placed in the field due to an apparent lack of experienced machine gunners in the state. Taking to the field on November 13th, 1932, the military found a degree of success over the first 2 days, with approximately 40 emus killed. The third day, November 15th, proved to be far less successful. But by December 2nd, the soldiers were killing approximately 100 emus per week. Meredith was recalled on December 10th, and in his report he claimed 986 kills with 9,860 rounds, at the rate of exactly 10 rounds per confirmed kill. In addition, Meredith claimed 2,500 wounded birds had died as a result of the injuries that they had sustained. In assessing the success of the cull, an article of the Coolgardie Miner on the 23rd of August 1935 reported that although the use of machine guns had been, quote, criticized in many quarters, the method proved effective and saved what remained of the wheat, end quote. Alright, so that was the second attempt. They were having some success, slapping some emu cheeks, but now I'm going to explain the aftermath, the epic conclusion.
Yeah, you could argue we're 1-1 right now. Tie
1-1.
game.
Yep, exactly. Despite the problems encountered with the coal, the farmers of the region once again requested military assistance in 1934, 1943, and 1948, only to be turned down by the government. Instead, the bounty system that had been instigated in 1923 was continued, and this proved to be effective. 57,034 bounties were claimed over a 6-month period in 1934. So basically they were like, it doesn't have to be a military or a government entity that kills them. There's just like, hey, if you bring us an emu, we'll fucking pay you money. And you already know these Australians were like, I'll take on an emu. Come here, emu. And just went, by December 1932, by December 1932, word of the Emu War has spread, reached the United Kingdom. Some conservationists there protest that the cull was a, quote, extermination of the rare emu, end quote. Dominic Cervanty and Hubert Whitwell, the eminent Australian ornithologists, describe that the war is an attempt at the mass destruction of the birds. I butchered the Christ out of that sentence, or that paragraph, but essentially, word got around the United Kingdom, conservation. God, I can't say the word conservationists. Conservationists were like mad that the emus were being killed because they're a rare species. Throughout 1930 and onward, exclusion barrier fencing became a popular means of keeping emus out of agricultural areas, in addition to other vermin such as dingoes and rabbits.
Oh, dingo!
Dingoes and rabbits. In November 1950, Hugh Leslie raised the issues of the emus in federal parliament and urged Army Minister Josiah Francis to release a quantity of .303 ammunition from the Army, and give them to the farmers so they can pop some caps. The minister approved and released 500,000 rounds of ammunition. In recent years, references to the Emu War have been a popular internet meme. In 2020, it inspired the video game Emu War. That's it. That's it. That's the Great Emu War. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the emus, still kicking. They won it.
Yeah, dude. They did it. And, like, I know it's like, in theory, it's like, it's birds, but that's a big-ass bird, and they're so fast because they have, like, the longest legs in the fucking world. Oh, yeah. So,
and, like, I know you're like, oh, just go get it's a machine gun. Go out there and just fucking eradicate them. Like, you know, like, Lewis guns, it's old tech. It's just not as good as stopping power, and these guys have, like, thick fucking skin, like these birds. So, like, when they get shot at and, like, it's like a spread shot, there's not, like, really accuracy. If they're not hitting, like, vital organs or, like, the neck or head or anything like that, the birds are just going to, like, kind of run away. And it's just, like, really hard to hit them. It's like it's a whole thing. So I can see why the emus put up a fight.
No, yeah, it's I will say hunting with an automatic weapon seems very efficient. I had a landlord when I was in college who, like, we were in a duplex and he owned the house and he lived on one side and then I lived on another. He knocked on my door one day and I opened it and I opened it and he's fucking wearing, like, camouflage and has a fucking assault rifle in his hands. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why are you knocking on my door with a fucking gun? And he's like, oh, I just need your help. And he had a deer, like, laying in our front yard just full of bullet holes. And I was like, what do you need help with? He's like, I need to hang it so I can skin it. I was like, there's not going to be any useful pieces of meat in that thing. You shot it 80 times.
So, wait, I thought, isn't it illegal to use a fully automatic weapon to hunt?
Yes.
Did you just dox
this guy? It is not okay.
Give us this guy's name. Let's get rid of this motherfucker.
I'm not going to do it.
You're an accomplice then.
But yeah, it was unfortunate. I was like, hey, I asked him, I was like, is this okay? And he said, sure.
Whatever it takes to eradicate the vermin.
Yeah, he's like, they'll thank me later.
Yeah, they'll thank me later. That deer could have jumped in front of a moving vehicle at some point, so you're welcome, America.
Yeah, it could have killed, like, your mother or son, so
yeah,
you're welcome.
That's a interesting story, Craig. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's all I've got this week.
Honestly, that's all I've got for the Emu War. So I mean, like, that's very interesting. I've never heard of it, so I'm glad. Thank you for picking it. I looked up the outcome because like on Wikipedia it like has like quick list stuff, and it just says the outcome was a failure. So Wikipedia themselves claim it as a failure. But
I would agree. If we have any Australians, I know I don't think we have any yet, but if anyone from Australia can confirm or deny, I would love to hear your how you feel about it, and if you feel like you won or lost.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're still talking about it like an L, then you know. You know.
If you know, you know.
Exactly. You know. But yeah. So that was it. I hope that I told it right. If Australians think that I told it poorly, I guess just blame Wikipedia, not me. So,
don't give them $1.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Don't give them a fucking $1. They can try more research, even though they did a lot of research. So I'm really proud of them for that. Good job, Wikipedia.
Yeah, we'll give them $1.
We'll personally give them $1 on the company card. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, shit, Craig. What do you got for me, dude? I want to listen to a story.
So, what I've got today, I wanted to keep it animal themed.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever heard of a man named John C. Lilly?
No.
Have you maybe heard of his research with dolphins?
Is this the Echo stuff? Like the Echo, thing?
Nope. It is not that I'm aware. This is basically in the 60s. It was discovered that dolphins had similar sized brains to humans. And humans, I mean, we are the epitome of brain, right? Like we've got the smartest brains. So, and back then, the only thing you knew was like big brain means big smart.
Of course.
So that means dolphins, in theory, are as smart as humans. At that point, they had really only been thought about as competition for fishermen, and they're considered varmin themselves. So they were basically like, these are worthless creatures who just keep the fishermen from making money by because they're not able to catch fish. So
interesting.
This basically they realized this, and they were like, if we can learn to communicate with dolphins, then that means if we ever see life in outer space, we'll be able to communicate with them as well.
I think that translates perfectly. That makes perfect sense to me.
Exactly. So this is in the 60s. So John C. Lilly, he was a neuroscientist. He at one point he expanded his research on to consciousness of the brain, and then how that relates to dolphins at some point. Yeah. So, with all that, he got they opened up a research center called the Communication Research Institute. It was on the island of St. Thomas. Him and a small group of researchers basically just sat there and they studied dolphin communication.
Sounds badass.
They were pretty they had a pretty good time with it, and they kind of realized that they were able to mimic speaking patterns of humans. So they did a lot of work with them to see hey, this if I do it like this, will he respond with a similar tone or inflection? Yeah. And they were starting to. They had 3 dolphins. 2 of them they had been working with. The third and the most famous of the dolphins' name is Peter. And we'll get back to Peter here in a minute. But
hey, Peter.
So John Lilly, they spend all this time helping these dolphins, and it gets to a point where they're like, man, not a lot is happening. There's just not a lot of happening. So John C. Lilly began to give the dolphins the drug known as LSD.
Hell yeah, dude. Drug up those fucking dolphins.
so they started drugging the dolphins. because they noted that when the dolphins were high, they would literally inject it with
Dude,
with
the Dolphins were
LSD.
like, hell yeah, fucking dude. Hell yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, they were like, bro, that's sick, dude. I'm so fucking,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Like, I'm so fucking lit. It's something these dolphins, bro. So they started.
I can't do it.
They made in their research. They were like, "Oh, dude, when we give the dolphins LSD, they're like 70% more talkative than they were before."
Makes sense to me.
So they were like, "This must be helping. This has to be helping." So they continued to do it, and they just continued to do it and continued to do it. And this is how they were like able to like record their findings.
Yes.
Now, there is a lady named Margaret Lovett. She basically grew up as an animal lover, the way that most children do, and she really never stopped. And like she's kind of, I don't think it was John Lilly's research lab that she went up to, but she went up to like a research lab and was like, "What can I do to help? I just love animals so much." And the guy was like, "Yeah, well, you come on in, sit back, take notes, and like afterwards, tell me what you like. I'll read your notes, and we'll see. Like, I just want to see what you have to say." And the guy like was like, "Oh man, you're really attentive. Your notes are really good, and you can like, you seem to have a really good understanding of these animals." And they were they were like, "You knew you should work in this field," and so she did. And then
That's
she
what's
eventually got to John Lilly's lab with him. She felt like this was something that needed to be, like, done around the clock. Like, you know how that one, I wish I could remember her name, how that lady went to live with the gorillas.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she
cool.
felt like it needed to be that kind of a situation. So they basically built her, like, they built her, like, in an apartment in the facility, and then filled the apartment with, like, 3 feet of water. So that way her and the dolphin could coexist, like, in a living quarters. And this was Peter. So she took a liking to Peter mostly because he had never been trained to speak English before. They had never worked with him. So he was fresh mind and gave them an opportunity to try this new task out.
Gotcha.
So the only thing she wouldn't she would sleep, like, her bed was hung above the water, so she would sleep away from him. Just for, like, safety reasons, because, I mean, you know, she could also just drown at any time.
Exactly,
so, she like, the first night, like, she recorded that she was like, "Why the fuck am I doing this?" But she also was like, "It needs to be done, and I'm the one that wants to do it, so I'm doing it."
Science must prevail.
Yeah, she never thought twice about it, except for, like, that one moment. Now, Peter was a maturing dolphin.
Oh man, he needs to get his dick wet. That's what he's thinking.
He's a maturing dolphin who's taking drugs also. So,
that's a fuck boy. He was describing a fuck boy dolphin.
So Peter, they basically would have to take breaks in their research because Peter would get so freaking like turned on because he's just a horny dolphin. So Peter would have to take breaks. They would have to physically lift this dolphin up, take him to the other tank, let him do his business, bring him back. And because he was kind of like learning how to communicate with the humans, he knew that if he acted a certain way, they would take him to the girls.
He's
so
intelligent.
Yeah, exactly. This is why we now know them as one of the most intelligent creatures in the world. But Peter they got to the point with Peter where Margaret was like, "Listen, we don't have the time. We do not have the time to move this beast. Like, he is a huge creature from one tank to the other every time he needs to bust. Like, it doesn't help the research. We need to get Peter, like, we need to get it taken care of." So she was like, "Listen, he rubs up against me, and that's like the cue usually, because he starts kind of just doing it himself." And she's like, it's an itch that needs to be scratched. Do it. Like, I'm just going to let him go for it. And now some reportings have, it got, like, released like an article got published in Hustler magazine about this because like someone leaked it to the press, and it was written as like Dear Penthouse or whatever, you know what I mean? Those kind of things.
Yeah.
And some reports say that Margaret manually did it herself.
She jacked off the dolphin.
Yeah. Other reports, including Margaret herself, say, no, I did let him rub up against me, though, and, like, do it. Like, she's like, it was way more convenient than picking him up and taking him to another...
This is a real scientist. Like,
yeah,
we have no time. We have no time. Give me the lubrication. We have no time.
Yeah. There's no time for this. So Carl Sagan is the man who basically like went to NASA to ask for the money for this project, and he's the one that like tapped Lilly to be the one to head this project. So he like pops in one day, and the only thing this man sees is that this dolphin spends most of its day humping this woman, and they inject these dolphins with LSD multiple times a day.
Dude.
And so he's like, bro, what the fuck are we doing here?
They're seriously just trying to get this. They gotta get the hard-hitting evidence, Craig. You wouldn't understand. You're not a scientist.
I know. Well, Carl Sagan is a scientist, and Carl Sagan was pissed. Carl Sagan didn't like this at all. So he basically was like, he's like, shut it the fuck down. He's like, we are done. He's like, this is absolutely not going to happen anymore.
You guys are some sick motherfuckers.
It's so funny because like LSD is it was a pretty new drug.
Right.
The only reason that they felt like it was okay was because one of the researchers was like authorized in his practice to experiment with the therapeutic effects of LSD. So they felt like it was okay to do this. But but basically, and you know, if anyone ever goes to look up John C. Lilly, this is probably what you'll find most of the time. He actually has some very intriguing ideas and was a very smart man. But boy, did he hit this one like foul ball for sure. Like, it was pretty bad. You gave these things LSD. You gave them a fucking drug for no reason. PETA would have a fit. And then you let a woman move into a research facility with a dolphin.
With the fuckboy
PETA
dolphin.
would also have a fit. And then the fuckboy dolphin, like, started trying to fuck the humans. And then depending on which end you believe, the woman also like manually took care of the dolphin, which PETA would also hate. And it's like, damn, like, you guys really fucked this up. So that's what you'll find mostly about these people, is not their, brains or decent research in other fields. It'll be that they drugged and tried to fuck dolphins. Is basically what we'll get.
That's all it becomes, yeah.
That said, because of John C. Lilly, we recognize dolphins as these like really intelligent creatures as opposed to just rodents of the sea.
Hell yeah. Thanks to that Mr. Lilly here Dr. Lilly, my apologies, for providing the research necessary to understand that dolphins aren't vermin.
Yeah, I'm glad we went through all that. Do you think the woman that lived with the fuckboy dolphin, do you think after jacking him off would just be like, you never like put my needs first? Yeah, she's like, she's literally just like, what? Like, when is it like? I know, because like, yeah. What if they like actually had like a really romantic relationship?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't condone bestiality here, but this would be a funny cartoon.
It would be a good cartoon. Maybe if it was like an Animorph spinoff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Animorph spinoff. Ew, that's okay. Now you're putting kids in the scene here. Let's shut this one down. Well, shit. Okay, was there any more on the dolphin research?
That's basically it. I mean, like I said, it definitely made leaps and bounds.
Right.
Like it did kind of give some basis for just the idea that like we can learn how to communicate with things that aren't human. So like it gives us reason to believe that if like aliens did come to Earth, we would probably be able to figure out how to communicate with them.
I forgot that that's what the point of this research kind of was. You lost me in the halfway point.
Yeah, once you get to the fucking drugs and the dick, it really gets weird.
Yeah, that's all I can really focus on. But yeah, anyway, so when aliens show up, we're gonna be like, "Yo, bro, you got this fucking good," and then he's like, and he tries LSD, and then we just jack him off. That's real fucking. Yeah. Now we can communicate with aliens. That's for sure.
We're just immediately aliens come down and we instantly get cucked. We're like, whatever you say, daddy.
We would be the most submissive bitches. I actually have a story, a dolphin story. Do you want to hear it?
I would love to hear it.
All right, goons. All right, this is Stories with the Boys, and I'm one of the boys. And here is my story. My mother and I went to... My mom was a travel nurse, and so she would go to random locations around the United States, and I would sometimes travel with her. And one time, she went to Florida, and so I went with her there. And so I lived there with her for a little bit. And one of the memories I have is we went to SeaWorld down there somewhere, and I thought it was the coolest fucking place in the world. And I know you were like thinking like, oh, don't like, what is it? Don't feed into like the corporate America, like because you know they're definitely taking these animals and putting them in captivity and using them for entertainment. And like I definitely went and watched Shamu.
In the grand scheme of it, SeaWorld bad. But you were a child.
Yeah.
SeaWorld good.
SeaWorld hella cool. And honestly, if in the grand scheme of things, a child, thus like that of myself, I learned a lot, and I got to like, it was a really, really cool experience to see habitats of creatures, artificial as it may be, in a setting where I would never, ever, ever be able to see those creatures in any other situation ever in my life. So technically it gave me great joy. And probably a lot of others great joy. I hope that they've made those facilities a lot better and more natural for these animals, because I don't know where I stand on that, because if there's like creatures that do need a habitat, that like they're kind of going instinct, I kind of understand if we would take them in and try to give them a better life, but I also understand that there's a lot of captivity problems and people just want their money. So there's kind of like a line to cross, but as a child, it was super cool. Anyway, my favorite part of it was seeing the dolphins for sure, right? Because they were fucking cool. They were on LSD, and it was awesome. I was in that like little pool thing, and like the caller noticed me, and then she was like "Ishk ip," and this fucking dolphin charged at me, and I was like, "Oh!" Ah! And it just kind of came up, and she was like, "Go ahead, pet him," and I forgot his name, but I was like, "Oh." And I touched the dolphin's face, and it was like, you know, like the little, I don't know the noises, but it looked scary, but he was a friend, and we just made a connection right there. It's fucking awesome. So that was cool. And then that same dolphin, I went ahead and, there was like that little pool section, and then they had this big old fucking aquarium tank connected to it maybe, or something, I don't know. But I remember getting out of that little pool thing, and then after a while going to the little like underground designation to where you can see inside their habitat, like this big old fucking tank. And I saw that dolphin and his buddy and a female dolphin, and they were fucking all three of them. Like there was a definite three-way going on, and it was two dudes just blasting this chick's ass. And I remember being a child and being like, "Mother, what is that, mother?" And it was fucking, I can remember it vividly. Like, their penises are some weird looking ass things. And so basically the female dolphin just kind of floats there, and then the two male dolphins are like just spinning and like twisting and turning all around this female dolphin. And like every now and then it gets like one jab perfectly in the cloaca, and like then it escapes, and then, you know, like it's just like a rapid fire, like pop, 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 like spinning, turning. So it was hard to see. I saw a lot of cum blasting all over the fucking water. It was actually disgusting. And I was like, huh. And then I found out that dolphins like to just fuck, like not just for mating purposes, but they just like to bang for fun. And,
oh yeah, dude.
Because they're intelligent.
They're ready to go.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, that dolphin could have brushed up on me, and I would have had to jack it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine if she was like, "Oh, he kind of imprinted on you. You're gonna have to come with me," and then like she like, "You're gonna have to jack him off."
Yeah, imagine like if you volunteered at a like a rescue or something for aquatic animals, and like a dolphin chose you, and the like owner was like, "Listen, you got to be the one. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. He literally chose you. I mean,
we
it's
don't
a
have
compliment.
any other dolphins. Yeah, it's because you're so pretty.
You're pretty. Like, I mean, you should feel good about yourself. Anyway, here's the loop. But anyway, I thought that was a really cool little. I thought it was awesome. Actually, I was like, this is nature in its most raw form.
Yeah, it was super raw.
Yeah, like literally raw dog.
Have you seen the movie Dolphin Tale?
Dude, I don't think so. I'm more of a Free Willy kind of guy.
Dude, that's a killer whale, though. That's scary, bro.
Dude, fucking killer whales are actually fucking terrifying. But anyway, that's another
really
story.
So, Dolphin Tale is about a dolphin who, like, whose fin gets, like, I don't know, I haven't seen the movie, but, like, its fin gets ruined, and, like, this rescue made, like, a prosthetic that it can use, and now it likes able to swim pretty efficiently. And she's never going to be able to go back into like
her
the world. She's gonna have to be in this rescue for the rest of her life. But it's in Clearwater Beach, Florida, and I went down there just to kind of dick around for a week, and we went and like visited. As far as the like advertising goes, they're like, you want to come see the Dolphin Tale and this and that, but like, because it's in a Disney movie, it's in Disney.
You're like, oh yeah.
And so yeah, it looked cool. But when you get there, and like, I'm not gonna knock these people because they do a lot of great work. Right. And I would totally get their frustration, but every 2 seconds they're like, Disney doesn't help us at all. Disney refuses to give us money. We don't see a penny from Disney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I don't. It looks like they didn't. I'm sure, like, I don't know if Disney like donated any money like in the first place or what, but they're like, we don't get any royalties for this. I'm like, yeah, well, it's a dolphin. Like,
yeah,
if anyone deserves the money, it's the dolphin.
It's the dolphin. Dolphin deserves the money.
But like you'd be like you'd be asking questions about like, oh, tell me about this, and they'd be like, well, Disney would never help us, but we have to fundraise for this, and you're like, God damn, like,
I didn't ask
can you give Disney a break for 2 seconds? I'm not here to talk about Disney. I want to learn about this blind turtle. Like, what? How does he swimming right now?
Oh, that's actually interesting. I get the frustration, but when you actually have customers in front of you, you might as well like make the most out of that. They're trying to give you money.
What if you got there? What if you went, like, if you ever visited like Disney and the CEO Bob Iger is like, fuck that Dolphin Tale, bitch.
Yeah, there's like a feud constantly.
Fucking, you're like, fucking what? Dolphin. You guys actually take this like super seriously. You guys hate each other. If you talk to the dolphin itself, the dolphin's like,
the dolphin's like, and we're like, what was that?
Sorry, we don't speak dolphin.
Is this fucker on LSD? Do I have to masturbate on him? Wait, no. Jack him off? Wait, you don't want to masturbate on him? Ew. I'm getting lost in the story, bro. It's taking me in. We need to change the subject. So, who's going to win? 20,000 emus or Peter the dolphin?
It's Peter. You get... Well, I guess if it's in water, it's going to be Peter. Peter would die elsewhere, but...
Oh, discrepancies, okay.
Yeah. And then if you put it in water, I like to assume that those emus would drown, so...
You know what? Stupid question. All right, I get it. All right.
All right, take it out of the equation. Taking the emus, always.
Oh, yeah, emus are ridiculous, but, I respect the research that was done on the dolphins. So, dolphins are really cool. Marine life genuinely terrifies me, though, at all times. You'll find that one of my biggest fears is just basically the ocean and everything that's involved in it. No, it's not even a joke. fucking scares me constantly. Just that's why I live in Kansas, bro. Like, I'm far the fuck away from that.
I was in Orlando, and we were in the ocean, and we were just chilling, and I was like, bro, like, at any moment, a shark could just kill me.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, nope. And not just that, or it's not just a shark. A fucking riptide can be like, you're in the middle of the ocean now, bye forever. Or a fucking, even just like the slightest inconvenience, like a jellyfish could kind of be like, some of those jellyfish are dastardly. Some of them could just sting you. Either way, you don't want to deal with it. Or just, you step on a fucking shell, or a goddamn sea urchin. There's so many things that just could go wrong for just swimming in the ocean. Nah, that's not me.
I'm not about it. I've been in the ocean probably like 5 times, like separately.
Yeah.
And I have yet to have a bad experience, but
consider yourself lucky.
Well, so there's this, we were for my wedding, we were in Mexico, and we went down to Cozumel, and you could like snorkel, and it's like the water's really, really clear. And so we went down there, and I was just in this water, and I was like, this is so fucking deep. I was like, this is like a shark. Like, a shark could just... This is like... I understand on the beach it's a lot less likely, because, like, sharks are like, I'm not going to get on the fucking... the shore. Like, that's stupid.
Right.
But, like, that was a pretty deep area. I was like, I don't know what we're doing here exactly. But I'm gonna hug the shore pretty tight.
I'm going to hug the shore. Yeah, exactly. Well, you see, and, as a kid, I had this fear. I don't know where it came from, just in general. I just, had the fear. And, when you're afraid of something, research it. Like, get to know exactly what it is you're afraid of, so that way the fear can go away, right? So, as a kid, I took great pride into researching sharks especially, and just marine life in general. And the more I just dove in there, the more fucking scared I got. So, I mean, like, I'll tell you that sharks do not like the taste of humans, and they don't want to eat you. But they fucking will, so don't test it. And, like, if you are bleeding, they'll definitely be like, like Bruce from Nemo, like, blood. And so, it's a no-go for me. I'm not gonna risk that biscuit.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, there's a bunch of nerve-wracking creatures, because even the nice creatures are still, like hey,
gross.
They're still disgusting creatures, and
yeah.
like, I mean, even the most, like, a jellyfish, like, it literally, like, has no sense of life.
No, yeah, they don't have a fucking heart or brain or some shit.
Yeah, and its purpose is literally just to float out there and, like, defend itself, I guess? I don't fucking know. So, like, it just shocks you for no reason, and it has no will to do that. It just does it, and you're like, fuck you!
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, why would you put yourself in the situation to be just shit on by nature? No. You're literally swimming in shit, too. Just constant whale cum and shit.
Shit.
So, I mean,
this is the whale shit and cum podcast or not.
Exactly. So, I mean, like, wake up, people.
Yeah, sheeps.
You fucking sheep out there.
Oh, everyone, after this podcast, everyone moves to Kansas. They're like, we gotta get as far away from this as possible.
Hey, there's plenty of room. But go west, because we don't, it's getting kind of crowded around the eastern side, so.
Yeah, western Kansas has nothing, so you guys can go there.
You can literally make a new plot of land out there. Be alright.
Yeah, the Ohio people should stay in Ohio. You guys are far enough, okay?
You thought we'd forget you, motherfuckers.
We'll never forget.
We'll never forget. Anyway, thanks for your viewership. Plenty of you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
But
still, even though we're from Kansas, still analytically our best location.
Go jack off a dolphin, all right? Fine, go to the coast. But shit, that was considering that it was History Month. I hope all the goons took a good notes, because there's going to be a test later. It was a fun one. That was fun. I'm glad you taught me that one. That was cool. I'm glad I did the research into the emus. That was cool. So I hope that the goons enjoyed listening to that.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we got more to come. We're gonna try. I'm gonna try and keep it lighthearted.
Yeah, it's aggressive.
February is is black. Yeah, you're gonna get aggressive for sure. I was assuming that. February is Black History Month, so I'm definitely gonna try and work something into that because it's silly that it's silly that it's something we like. It shouldn't be like reserved for February. You know what I mean? Like it should be something always, but we'll still
every month
we'll partake as long as people refuse to recognize Black culture. We'll continue to support.
We'll show you.
So we'll dabble in there somewhere as well for sure. And also we're planning on doing a Valentine's Day special podcast.
Yeah.
So after you hear this one, it won't be long until you have that. So I think we're just gonna bullshit around a little bit and read some posts off relationship advice on Reddit.
Yep.
And give our 2 cents because we're very successful relationshippers. I'm going on 10 years with my wife, and Andrew's going on.
I'm on like season 9.
Season 9.
Season 9, dude. I think I'm 9 months with my current girlfriend, but it feels like forever, but it also feels like it just began. And we're really excited to keep that going. So
beautiful.
Very beautiful. And I'm listen, I am really good at advice. So you come to Mr. Andy for some love advice and you're going to get some results. And Craig, he knows a thing or two cuz he's seen a thing or two. So, and we didn't just steal that from State Farm or Allstate or wherever the fuck.
Is it
Farmers?
Is it,
That's
Farmers. I think it's the Farmers one. Whatever Jonah Jameson is in.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. But yeah, I'm excited about that. That like Craig said, that's going to come up next week. So it's going to be a really quick back-to-back episode. So you're fucking welcome. But the February one, we're just going to dick around, like he said, and it's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter one. So don't expect a whole lot. But if we get on the ball and it's rolling and we're having a good time, then yeah, it might be longer. But just, we hope you enjoy that. There's also our next episode. I'd like to tease a little song. In honor of the cancellation of one of Craig and I's favorite shows of all time, Drunk History, we have decided to create the next episode, Drunk Stories with the Boys. This is skipping, of course, the Valentine's Day episode. So hopefully if we can get all of our geese in a row. Yeah, I said geese, not ducks, all right? Well, once we get all our emus in a row, we are going to get together, drink a astronomical amount of alcohol, and then tell our story on the podcast, and it'll be in the format of Drunk History. So we hope that can get going. If we cannot do it, then we'll just release the story like normal, but that is the plan for next history drop. Yeah,
it was a beautiful show.
Yes.
And gone but not forgotten, R.I.P. So we're going to try and do that. It'll be a good time because unless ideally will make sense is the hope.
That is true. This is foreign waters. I do not know how this will go at all, so we will see.
I love it.
But other than that, I call that one in the books.
I think it was successful.
Episode 14, we're starting off strong with February. It's a shorter month, so we're going to have to crank some shit out.
Yeah, we're doing 30 episodes this month.
30! That's like more than an episode a day, and we're starting on the 6th of February.
We're in bad shape.
But, thanks, Goons, for staying with us. Please follow us at stories_boys at Twitter. Go to our YouTube and subscribe. Please subscribe to the YouTube. You don't have to, but that just helps. Just the more numbers we see, like I had mentioned before, the better that we get at this. So show us some fucking numbers, you Ohio scum.
Yeah, anything, obviously things you can do to help us out, because we definitely started off with I'd say a decent amount of people who listen. We've managed to retain pretty much all of that, which is wonderful. It's great that
Thank
we've
you.
been able to keep the audience. We're just having a little bit of trouble with the traction in that regard. Not that, I mean, we're doing our methods or whatever, but I think every algorithm on everything hates us.
Yeah.
If you search for our Twitter if you search for our Twitter, like another podcast comes up.
Oh, excellent.
Even if you search our like actual handle, a different podcast comes up, and I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
can we get a hookup here? I'm like, fuck.
They don't give any respect to the underdogs.
Yeah. So yeah, help us out. Word of mouth is great.
Yeah.
Writing, reviewing us on Apple Podcasts if you use Apple Podcasts. Subscribing to the YouTube. Following us on Twitter would be tremendous, and
Just
turning on like notifications for apps like Spotify also super helps. So that way
literally,
you can listen as soon as we post. Because I know we don't have a schedule that we just kind of we do this like when we're free, and then we post it, when it's done. So that's kind of that way you don't have to, maybe like you go a week later and we haven't done something, and then you miss this week's episode by a few days. Just turn on notifications and you'll know right away.
Yeah. Anything just to slightly go out of your way to make our lives better, we'd grandly appreciate. So anyway, but anyone that is here, we do appreciate you as it is. So don't think we're looking past you. We're not like T-Mobile or something where like we don't enjoy our current customers. We just want new ones. So we offer great deals on new customers. We want to give you guys the constant listeners, the everydayers, a quick thank you. So
fuck you, T-Mobile.
Oh god. Yeah, cricket's where it's at. But I guess then that's a wrap, Craig. Anything else? Let's last little notes here. Anything else you want to say?
I got nothing.
I got nothing either. I think we've hit it all the nails on all the heads. So here's a tip: don't do LSD.
Yeah, don't.